Hello, welcome to this video where we will discuss using the Blue HMI software to discuss connecting to and how we share variables between the Rockwell 800 Series PLC and its connected components workbench software and the Blue software. Okay. So here's just a real quick agenda here. What we'll go into first is we'll go into the connected components workbench environment and discuss basically the global variable list. Then we'll get into the Blue development environment and discuss the different ways that we can connect and interface and basically talk to the Micro 820, running a runtime PLC program. How we access the variables, and then how we access the variables with symbol link. Okay, so let's go to the live demo. So first thing that we're going to call up is we're going to call up the connected components workbench software, and you can see I just don't have much of a PLC program here. I basically have a Micro 820. Okay, I don't really have much of a program. The one thing to note is that the Micro 820 only allows you to, using Ethernet IP, the Micro 820 only allows you to access the global variables. So any of the local variables, etc., are not accessible via Ethernet IP. Structures and arrays and defining words are accessible because they can basically be used within the global variable list. Okay, so if we go into the global variable list, what you'll see is the first thing you'll see at the top is that there will be, at the top of the global variable list, you'll see the discrete I/O points, and then as you go through, you could see I have some different data types in here, some different test variables, etc. And then you can come down here and you can see all these internal collection of stuff that's in the global variable list, okay, for lack of a better description. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open up the Blue software. Okay, so I'll bring Blue in here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the simulator in the software. I'm not going to download to an HMI or anything, just so it's not a big deal what HMI I pick. So what I'm going to concentrate on is in the system architecture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Rockwell driver. And we're going to pick Ethernet IP. Okay, and then under the first thing we want to do is we want to program in what IP address the PLC is at. Oops. 2. Give me a second. Okay, I'm sure that was fun for everybody. And then the other thing that we have to do is, because we're talking to a Micro 800, what we have to do is we have to make sure we change the PLC series. So we have to go over here in the properties window for the driver under protocol configuration, and under the PLC series, we need to pick Micro 800 native. Okay, and that's all we need to do as far as the setup for the driver. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight to the variable list. Okay, and what you'll see is I'll snap these windows here. Okay, so what I can actually do now is you do have the ability to do a symbol link, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But one of the things that's nice about this driver is that if you don't need symbol link, if you want to make a real quick test, for example, you can simply, for everything that's not a structure or an array, etc. So any of the normal, let's say, data types, you can access just via physically and just manually typing in the tag name within the variable list. So for example, I'll go in here and I'll create a couple bools. I'll create 3. And we'll call this output, oops, 0, 0. Of course, we could duplicate this, but I'm just going to do this manually, just get it done real quick. Output underscore 0, 1. Okay. So note that name now is simply, that is the name that's held inside Blue. It has no bearing on what's going on in the PLC. So as we look across, we're going to change that to the Rockwell driver. Okay. And as we move over, and then in the device address field, we have to open the ellipse because currently the only place this tag could be entered is in this tag name column. Right? And we're just simply going to enter this directly as it is in the global variable list. So underscore IO underscore EM underscore DO underscore 0, 0. So one thing to note is that this this O and this D, so these tags are actually case sensitive. So if you use for example, if you use a lowercase o here, the tag will fail. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same thing for the other two. I'll make a copy, make this easy for me. This will be space 01. Okay. And this will be backspace 02. So now I've created those 3 tags to those 3 IO points. So now just to show you how simple this could be, I'm just going to go right to my screen. It's already created a canvas for me. Let me maximize Blue. Okay. I'm going to get a tool. I'm just going to grab a lamp. Okay. Current value. I'm going to tie to output 0. In the operation, I'm going to tie to, just so I can toggle it also to output 0. Okay. So let's see if we can duplicate this easily. We'll see what happens. I'll just give it 3. See what, okay, we'll see. Yep. Okay. No, you gotta change it. It didn't increment it right. So we'll just go back in here. Okay. And then we'll go into here. Okay, so now I have those 3 tied to those first 3 variables. So the lamp will reflect the state. This is a little bit hard to show on a video, but I'll just go into simulate. And you can basically see all 3 of them are on right now. I don't know how you would believe that, but if you know anything about the Blue software, if there were communication issues, we would have red bands around these. So as I click these on and off, well, I didn't set the action in the other 2. But anyway, so that's all you have to do. So the point was just to show you that you can simply put in the tag names straight away into the variable list without having to do any imports or anything. So if you just needed to do a quick test, or say you only had a small amount of tags, that could be maybe a nice way to do it. Okay. So next we'll move on now to basically to the symbol import part. So the first thing that we're going to do, and then notice what you'll notice is all this stuff. So for example, these pools collection, these unique data types, they will actually allow you you can program those names into the editor, but unless you do the symbol import, none of those things actually will function. Okay, so what we need to do in the software is we need to go to under the device menu in Connected Components Workbench. We need to do an export. And what we're going to do is we're going to export the variables. Make sure also, and again, I'm not a Connected Components Workbench guru, but do be careful. I'm just going to go ahead and build it, even though it's built and running in there and everything. But be careful. Sometimes the export won't work right unless you've built the project or at least saved it. Like I said, I'm not an expert. There's probably some method to it. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the device, and you can see after I've built it, now I have other options available to me. But anyway, the one that we care about is variables. And then you'll notice that it's for, I'm just going to name the file. This is something I've already done. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace the file. So you'll notice in the drop-down list, it does support different file types. But for Blue, currently, we require this CSV file. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. Okay, I'm going to replace it. Doesn't matter. No, I don't want to view the file. You can do that if you'd like to see actually what that raw file actually looks like. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is actually, let me go in here and delete these two that I don't really want. Okay. So one of the things I also want to show here is that it is possible to have a mix of manually created tags and symbol link tags. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the symbol link and I'm going to add a symbol link, but in this case we want the CSV file. We're going to say import. I'm obviously going to just browse to my PC. For the file, there it is. Okay. All right, so now you'll notice a lot of stuff. Need to sort, need to absorb it a little bit, but you'll notice I've got my global pool. So this was my array. I've got bools, I've got integers, I've got some reals, I've got a real-time clock. This is one of the supported structures. I've got a motor structure that I've created. Here's just a timer, and here's a sysinfo structure. Okay, and you'll notice it will add this to the data types, etc. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll just put a numeric, say at this integer test. So I'll go back to the screen. Okay. Now I'm going to tie this to integer test 00. Then I'm going to go ahead, run the project. Oh, yeah, to redefine that. So we're learning here. I'll keep this in the video. Everybody can have fun with it. You can see if I double click the error, this takes me to the right place. Okay. All right, so we should be good. Okay, and you'll see I have no red bars, so everything appears to be okay on the surface. Let me go back to the Rockwell software. Hopefully I can get online. Okay, let me check. Give it a second. And through the magic of video editing, we come back and we are online. Needed to shut firewalls off, etc. Okay, so now basically here I'm online with the PLC. I'm going to drag my blue runtime. Here's that variable. I'm going to go just to the global variable list, and here you can see we've got values that you can see. So I'm going to go to just this test integer. Real quick again, I'm not a Rockwell expert, so apologize if I'm not doing this the right way. So I'll put a number in there, and there it is. I'll put in there, okay, I'll go in here, okay, and then we could see that's reflected, okay. So in summary, you can use anything in the global variable list. You can manually enter it into the variable list in blue, or you can do a symbol import, or you can use a combination of both. I think it's a quite nice feature, and thank you for watching.